I believe that my credentials, my education, my experiences, my successes, and yes, even my challenges have prepared me uniquely for this pivotal moment in the history of my hometown. It is a clarion call to public service, akin to a journey to sacrifice for the sake of the community, where those who are able must take up sword and shield to fight for the common good. As a lifelong Detroiter born in the city's Black Bottom some 60 years ago, and as a member of a family who now celebrates its fourth generation in this city, my love for it is boundless. I care deeply and have invested my entire life in improving it, here, raising a family, and creating jobs here in Detroit. The recent election of our first mayor, who had to move into the city to run and did not and cannot solve anything for us, Detroiters. He is a nice man, but he is inexperienced in government fiscal policy and is not only unfamiliar with Detroiters and their needs, but readily admits and promises to be a one-term mayor. No, we as Detroiters need much more. Last Tuesday, barely 15% of our city's eligible voters went to the polls. A minuscule 7.5% elected the new mayor, representing a resounding vote of no confidence in the current and now the newly elected leadership. The recent campaigns barely scratched the surface in providing any substantive programs for solving Detroit's problems. The public barely witnessed any candidate debates, and the winner even refused to reveal his so-called secret list of allies who would be running our city behind the scenes. Let me be clear that from this point forward, when Detroit elects me to be their mayor, they will know that this Detroiter is running the show. There will be no secret list stashed in the wings, and you will know who will truly be in charge. Detroit needs a mayor who will commit to us in the long term, a mayor who will protect its valuable assets, and a mayor who brings professionalism and accountability to the office. It needs and requires a mayor who understands that Detroit is the hub of the economic wheel of southeastern Michigan's economy. You see, we need a mayor who understands that he has a unique responsibility to work with his fellow Michiganians everywhere to relaunch and build a new Detroit. Yes, Detroit needs a mayor who will be inclusive and who knows that respect for people and what they represent is something that cannot be legislated away. I happen to believe that there is an alternative. In a time of tremendous fiscal challenges with Detroit and its schools, a skyrocketing jobless rate, and the restructuring of our region's core industries, competent, steady, expert leadership is required to steer us through these critical years of challenge and of change. As a recognized expert in fiscal policy, my credentials are exactly what is needed to find solutions to very complex dealings, maintain transparency, and communicate as well as inspire our citizens on what will be required of them to work and to build a new Detroit. The question we as Detroiters must ask is who best is to lead us in the long run. Having a mayor with these critical skills committed to the long-term challenges is the key decision in this upcoming election. My fellow Detroiters, today I place my name into nomination. Let's compare our visions for the new Detroit. Let there be an accounting of what direction our great city will be taking in the next 10 years. And let's do it issue by issue. Over the next 90 days, I challenge my opponent or opponents to a series of dignified town hall forums and debates which are befitting of the office of the mayor of the city of Detroit. The subject matter should be on major public policy areas facing our city, including fiscal policy and the city's debt, school governance, city services, charter reform, and yes, city council districting, local business initiatives, jobs in new industries, and unified crime prevention strategies. The moment is here. Our direction is clear. The march is on. If we are to build our city in the image of a safe and a prosperous place to live, stop middle-class flight, and buttress our tax base, then we must act now. I know my fellow Detroiters see it too. To our suburban friends, for too long we have been estranged. The time is now, as you too must be a part of the solution. From Auburn Hills to Southfield, from Mount Clemens to Northville, you too must participate in rebuilding to make our city proud, for you too are a Detroiter. With Joe Louis as our inspiration for the fight ahead of us, Detroit, let us now go forth and act with an overwhelming mandate for change on Tuesday, August the 4th. Let us make this the last election we will need, for it will be the start of a real new beginning for a shiny new Detroit on the river's edge. Thank you. I now will open myself up for questions if there are any questions for the press, and I'll be happy to do one-on-ones afterwards. I have just resolved that I will never follow Taylor again in anything that I do. She's a pretty cool kid. If there's any questions, I would be delighted to answer them.
What sort of personal message do you intend to get out to separate yourself from the challengers coming up in the future? How are you going to separate yourself from the rest? What important message do you need to get?
I think that Detroiters are in a unique position. We are accustomed to having Detroiters run Detroit. This is the first time in the history of the city that we now have two outsiders running our city and our schools. I think that the qualifications, my financial background, et cetera, uniquely qualifies me to deal with the fiscal issues that beset both our schools and our city. I believe that my opponents, and particularly Mr. Bing, who I just won, is a nice person, and I don't begrudge him the opportunity to have his $1 million home in Franklin. That's good. But then he should have ran for the mayor of Franklin. We here in Detroit want Detroiters to run Detroit.
Here, here.
Good. If there are no further questions, let me just extend an invitation to all of you. Later on today at 2 o'clock, we'll be going over to the city-county building. I will tell you, volunteers and family and folks, we have nearly 4 times more signatures than are required to be on the ballot. And to all of my church members and friends and TJ's friends who are here, thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate that, and we will win this election. And I will tell you that we will begin building that shiny new city on the river's edge. Right. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon.